Hi everyone. So welcome back to our YouTube channel. And today we will continuing our chapter 2 theory of consumer behavior of class 12 microeconomics. So far we have discussed about the utility. We have discussed about the consumer preferences, which are reflected by the indifference curve, right? On the other hand, we also discussed that the budget constraint, which reflects the consumption bundles which the consumer can afford to pay given his or her income and prices of the goods and services. Right now, um, let's continue with the next topic, which brings us to a next topic, topic which is basically we have been waiting for, that how does the consumer makes the final optimal choice, right? Final, what is the final choice made by the consumer? Optimal choice by the consumer. Okay. And once again, so this is optimal choice by consumer. Okay. Now, let's understand that if we once we get these indifference curve, one is the x2, and on one side we have x1, and we have these indifference map, right? IC1, IC2, IC3. Now, and on other hand, we have this budget constraint. I'm just again making these to revisit uh, what we have discussed in previous videos, which M by P1 is, and this is M by P2. All right. Now, we will understand that how the consumer is going to take the final choice, like which is the like final consumption bundle which the consumer is going to consume, right? Given he has this income, his preferences over here and his constraint, right? So he cannot consume all the consumption bundles, and he cannot move to any of the uh, indifference curves. Similarly, he would like to consume the maximum, like he would like to consume all or utilize all his income, right? So now let's understand this with the help of first with the help of diagram. Then we will also understand the with the help of the formulas also, right? Mathematically also we try to understand that. First, let's make this. All right. So let's say this is the budget constraint, and now we are trying to continue. Like what we are doing, we are combining these two diagrams. Okay, we are combining these two diagrams. Okay, one, two, three. I see one, I see two, and I see three. This is x1, this is x2, 0. This is m by p1, this is m by p2. All right. Now, let's say we have many options whether the consumer can consume over here. It can be like I'm just naming these consumption bundles A, B, and C, and let's say D. At point A, like, can the consumer consumes would like to consume consumption bundle A? Yes, he can consume because he is spending entire income. If he consumes this consumption bundle A, which gives him, let's say, 3 units of X1 and let's say 10 units of X2. Correct. And he's consuming entire income. He's spending all his income on that good, on both the goods and services. And how we also um, we see that he's getting this level of utility, right? So utility of at A, utility of A is U1, right? And at point B, let's understand that at point B, what happened? At point B also, he can consume he's consuming entire, he's spending entire income. And he's giving the same level of utility because they both lie on the same indifference curve, right? So that is also possible. So, but let's understand, is there any other better option for him? Because I'm just mentioning that here we are making an assumption that consumer is a rational consumer, right? He's a rational person who want to maximize his consumption, maximize his utility, given his or her income level, right? Or given his or given the constraint he is facing, maximum consumption, or I would say the maximum utility he or she maximum gets she gets given his or her consumption given his or her constraint. Okay. So he is the rational. He makes the uh, he would like to move to the higher indifference curve as possible as can. So let's understand the point B. At point B, yes, he's getting the higher utility at point D, which is U3, let's say, and which is greater than U1. But the question comes, can he afford it? No, because this point lies outside the budget line. So this point, let's say this consumption bundle, he will not be able to consume because he doesn't have that income. Correct? So point D, sorry, this is point D. This point D is something that is out of his or constraint, like out of her income level. Correct? So now the question comes, there's also another point, that's point C. Okay. At point C, what happens? Is he consuming? Is he spending entire income? Yes, entire income is spent. Correct. Is he getting are we moving to the higher indifference curves? Yes. Why not? We are moving to the higher indifference curve, IC2. Right. So at point C, U of C is greater than utility of A and or utility of B. Basically, this is or. Correct. So now entire income is spent. So utility of C is greater than utility of A or utility of B. So at point C, this happens, and at point utility of C, um, so we can see that the budget at A, B, and C, the entire both the three of these bundles lie on the budget constraint. However, um, at one point, at one consumption bundle, utility of C is greater than utility of A and greater than utility of B. So, since we are assuming that the consumer is rational, well, he would like to move to a higher indifference curve. And given his or her income and prices are same, he would be getting higher utility when he consumes consumption bundle C, right? So the consumption bundle C is the point where the IC curve is, I'll just move to the next bundle, next slide. IC curve, indifference curve is tangent, right, to the budget constraint. That becomes our that becomes our optimal choice for the consumer. Understood? Right. So as you can closely observe that this indifference curve, the IC2, is tangent to these budget constraint. However, they are intersecting also to the budget constraint, but they are not tangent because we can move to the higher indifference curve given the same income we are spending, but now we get higher utility. So basically, it is a different different bundle consumption, different bundle of consumption. Um, so this way we can move. The consumer would like to consume the consumption bundle C. All right. Now, IC curve is tangent. Okay. Now, let's understand with it mathematically also. Okay. So mathematically, as we can see, the slope of indifference curve is marginal rate of substitution. What is this? Marginal rate of substitution and slope of budget constraint is, what is it? Price ratio. That is P1 by P2. Because it is a downward sloping, it is minus P1 by P2. So since we are considering the absolute value of the slope, so what happened? Let's say, let's understand. So ideal optimal choice would be, like, what would be the optimal choice? We were not going towards the optimal choice directly. Let's understand MRS is greater than, I'm just taking a case one. MRS is greater than the price ratio, which is the absolute value of MRS is greater than the price ratio, which is basically P1 by P2. Right. So MRS is, let's say, 2 and price 1 is equals to, both the prices are same. Okay. So in that case, price ratio becomes 1. So what does it MRS2 signifies? MRS2 signifies that the consumer is willing to substitute 2 mangoes for 1 banana given to be in the same level of, to attain same level of utility, because we are assuming that x1 is bananas. We have so far assumed x1 is bananas and x2 is mangoes, and it is the same example given in the textbook also. So it means the consumer is willing to substitute 2 mangoes for 1 banana. Like if he wants to have an extra banana, he was willing to substitute 2 mangoes. However, if he gets, like if he consider this, if he goes into the market, what he can get? He can get 1 mango, 1 extra mango for 1 banana, right? Like he doesn't have to substitute 2 mangoes, right? For 1 banana, he can get 1 mango. He's only has to sacrifice 1 mango for 1 banana. Okay. So it means the consumer has to, there is some scope of getting a higher level of consumption bundle, which gives him higher level of utility, because we are assuming that the consumer's preferences are monotonic. There's another assumption we are making, the second assumption, the consumer preferences are monotonic. What are they? They are monotonic. All right. Now, these 2 bananas for 2 mangoes for 1 banana. Now, what happened? The consumer would like to, let's understand, like the textbook also. They have given a similar example to us. Right. So MRS is 0.2. Suppose the 2 goods have the same price. At this point, the consumer is willing to give up 2 mangoes if she's given an extra banana. But in the market, she can buy an extra banana if she gives up just 1 mango. Therefore, if she buys an extra banana, she can have more of both the goods compared to the bundle represented by the point. So what happened? If he would like to go into the market, he can get extra banana for 1 mango, right? 1 mango for 1 banana, or the other way around. So he can get higher mango, like more goods, like given his other income. So that means this when the MRS, there is some level of uh, it's not an equilibrium, correct? There's some level of mismatch, right? There is not something that we reach to the optimal point. Optimal point is there is no scope of improvement. There's no scope of um, getting a higher utility or right. So that means that MRS, if MRS is greater than P1 by P2, the absolute value of P1 by P2, there's an option. Like if she buys an extra banana, she can have more of both the goods, right? Compared to the bundle represented over the point. And in that case, he can move to the preferred, can move to the better bundle. Correct. All right. So the price ratio cannot be the optimum. The okay. Similarly, we can. So this is an example. This is the homework for you. Just find out what would happen if give out the reason in the comment section. What would happen if MRS is less than the price ratio? Right. Just take it out an example and take out any, like you can take any example. With the help of that, just let me know in the comment section what would happen if the MRS is less than the price ratio. Will the consumer would be able to achieve its optimum level or not? Right. So basically, this is their homework and just do it and let me know. Okay. Now, at the end, this is something that you have to figure out once on your own for your practice or for your better understanding. But at the end, we see the point where at which where the optimal choice would be the point at which the budget line is tangent or indifference curve is tangent to the indifference curve. The point where the budget, where the slope, basically the slope is the indifference curve at this point, and the slope of the budget line is same. That means the MRS is equal to P1 or the price ratio. All right. So at that point, the consumer can get an optimal bundle. All right. So far, that's all for this video. And I'll see you in the next video. We will discuss more on this. And so till then, stay tuned. Bye bye.